we're going to start with think kindly. And these are really practical things that you can do and share with your organization as soon as you get off this webinar. And we're going to start with think kindly, although you can start anywhere. They're interconnected, as I said, because your thoughts influence the words you use and the actions you take, right? So in a way, they're your inputs. So the first of the 3 key behaviors for the think kindly practice is to assume positive intent. And assuming positive intent is unbelievably important for leaders because as human beings, we're kind of set to the negative. We have built in, our brain is wired for negativity bias. That's from a long time ago when, we had to worry about being safe. We were living in caves and a saber-toothed tiger might come along and eat us at any time. So we tend to see the negative first. Assume that something bad is going to happen. We assume the worst. So the first thing we need to do to unstick our transformation, whether we're the leader, whether we're the leader of the organization, the leader of the transformation effort, the leader of a team, is actually, even if we're stuck somewhere and people aren't moving along and doing what they have to do, I want you to assume positive intent. I don't want you to think, oh, that person's out to get me. Oh, they never participate in everything. I want you to think long-term and be patient and assume positive intent. And think people actually come to work and they want to contribute and they want to do what they're supposed to do. And if they are not engaging in the transformation, they must be afraid. So I want you to look for fight, flight, and freeze behaviors. Now, what does fight look like? Well, let's say we're going to have a lean transformation and we're in a Kaizen or a rapid improvement event or a Scrum, and we're in that meeting and someone starts to be belligerent, right? They tell you all the reasons it can't work. They tell you all the reasons that it's impossible. It's never worked before. The organization's tried all these things before that it's never worked. And you think to yourself, oh no, here's a resistor. This person is never going to do this. They don't want to participate. They're out to, sometimes we take it personally and think they're out to get me, right? I want you to stop here because that's all assuming negative intent. I want you to see that this is arguing, right? And arguing is a fight behavior. If someone is fighting, then actually, guess what? They're fearful. And we need to figure out what they're afraid of and help them through that. Let's say you're coaching an executive or a team manager on a new way to work in a transformation, and they keep canceling all of the coaching sessions. A lot of times we think, oh no, this person is not going to, they really just don't care. I want you to not assume negative intent. I want you to assume positive intent and think that's a flight behavior. They're running away. They're fearful. What do I need to do? When you see these, when you see freeze, you give people a list of things that they're supposed to go back and do for tomorrow for the rapid improvement event, and they come back and it's not done. That might be a freeze behavior. Maybe they're afraid to give it a try. So I want you to start to identify the behaviors that people are having that actually are fight, flight, and freeze. And think of them as not, they don't want to transform, that they're afraid and we need to do something. Kindness is the thing that's going to stop them being afraid. So once you notice that you are assuming negative intent and not positive intent, I want you to call a timeout for yourself and others. If you're in a Kaizen event and you see people are fighting, call a timeout and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What fear am I feeling? Am I worried that if this doesn't go well, I'm going to get in trouble? Call a timeout. Check your thoughts frequently Ask yourself, why do I think this? And then think, this person is afraid. I'm afraid. And when you note those negative, unkind thoughts, I want you to get out a piece of paper and a pen and write a list of all the possible reasons that people could be afraid and other possible reasons for their behavior and the reasons that you're feeling this way. Because when we write something down and we get them out, we can see them clearly for what they are. And we can, instead of pushing people away and labeling them as resistors, we can actually go to them and say, with kindness, I notice that you seem to be having a hard time with this. What could I do to help you? Remember, it's that positive outcome for someone else. How can I remove the fear? What could we do that will make this easier for you? And remember, I said right at the front, think long-term and be patient. Because a lot of fearful behaviors are entrenched in us, and they've been for a long time. If a person's been with an organization for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, they've probably seen a lot of negative effects for others who have tried to work in different ways or tried to transform, and maybe things haven't gone exactly right. So first thing is to think kindly.